How do you place objects in a world in an interesting way? Because it's a big part.
We have a level design. You cannot, people, if they only knew how much we spend on, we have a clutter group, a group of people who clutter.
What's clutter mean?
Clutter
Like,
is all the stuff around. Just
to
like
place the
interior
stuff.
decorators
Yeah.
for treasure and stuff and trash. And they go through every space and they clutter it. Our level designers think about it a lot. These also become landmarks for the player when you're walking through a space and, oh, this is the place with this. And there is a logic to making a good level. As they say, with even if you walk by like a little T intersection, that becomes like a decision point in the player's head. Like, oh, I didn't go down that way. But the more you do that, it looks easy on paper. But when you're playing a game, you actually kind of want to limit those because he's trying to keep track of all these decision points. Then they get lost. And yes, we have maps, but anytime the player's going to check a map in a place like that, I feel that it's more of like a backstop for certain players. If they need to check the map, I feel like we've kind of failed.
Got it. So it's just there's a momentum to it. Just pulls them in. It
And
doesn't feel like
look,
they're
you played a
required.
lot of games, you played a lot of levels where you're just like, I'm a little confused or I don't know. And then you play other levels where like, man, it was great. I went through it. It was well balanced. I knew where I was going. And it's not, you don't want to ever be mazy. As long as you know where you're going, as long as you know you made those choices, then it feels fine. But as far as the treasure and all of the loot, it is really an art. We will not do enough clutter, and then we will over clutter, and then there's too much stuff everywhere, and then we declutter every single game. I wish we got better at it. It would save us a lot of time.
But you're constantly going by feel, like this is too much, this is not enough.
Right. Because the other thing is, look, it creates, people want to pick everything up. They want to click everything. So if you have too many things of importance in a room, it's like, it actually makes you feel a little tight as a player. You're like, well, I'm basically an idiot if I don't pick all this stuff up.
Yeah.
You probably felt this way.
Yeah, for sure.
And like the moment where you decide that you're just like, I've clicked so many things in this room, I actually am going to leave that ammo canister there.
Yeah.
But you feel like a dope.
Yeah.
You've probably experienced this.
Yes.
Okay,
But also you have a joy from if there's not many items and you found the one and you got it.
Right.
And you feel good. I got it.
And then it's finding like, oh, I stuck my head in this corner and, I picked this lock and I opened this locker and, oh, there was this thing I've been waiting for.
Yeah. What about like rare items?
That's an art, even more so of an art. I will say we have a ways to go there in terms of finding the right drop rate for special items, we call them, your epic, rare, legendary. You look at games, like so many games do it, and there are ones that you just play and love because they have it down. Destiny 2 is great at it. Diablo, a series I love, sort of famously, Diablo 3, which I think is great. And they did an update. It mostly just changed the loot drops. And it's like this whole new experience. And there's a really real art to it. I think that we're still learning. We're still learning a lot and we're trying to, get better at it because it's one of those things where it drives you through the game. It's fun to get the treasure. And
Diablo and Skyrim have this interesting quality of being extremely popular. And there's a lore around like rare items. So it changes the dynamic of like you could afford to have really rare items.
Yes.
And then somebody finds it and that becomes like a thing. I mean, as you release a game, there's a lot of people play it and they start sharing stories and so on. It's so interesting because that's part of the game experience is the stories of others, right?
For us, 100%. Because we've been classically, with most of our stuff, single player, that water cooler shared experience, we would have a thing like we call them did you know moments. Like we got to have a bunch. So you meet someone, they do, what are you doing? And then they say, did you know? If you go here and do this, what? Did you know? And that to us is where a lot of our community has been sharing their stories and here's what you can do.